The federal government says it is taking steps to make the internet safer. This week, the Obama administration pressed ahead with plans to create an internet identification system for Americans. Now, the idea is still in the planning stages, but it appears the government wants to set up a system that lets users create a single secure online account. For more now, CNET's chief political correspondent, Declan McCullagh, joins us from San Francisco. Thanks for being with us, Declan.
Hi there, a pleasure.
Okay, first of all, can you explain exactly how something like this would work?
Well, we don't know yet because this is kind of the beginning of the beginning. It's still very much in the planning stages. But the idea is to make this online experience a little bit more secure. So maybe merchants, Amazons and eBays of the world can be a bit more certain that someone who's actually buying something from them is who they say they are. They are not just using a stolen credit card to buy a camera, for instance. At least this is the broad outlines of the plan. The idea is authentication and cybersecurity.
So it's a single, secure online account. Would this be mandatory for Americans?
Well, we had a White House official come out here to Stanford on Friday, and he said absolutely not. This was Howard Schmidt, who's their cybersecurity advisor. But the danger is, and this is one reason privacy advocates are a little worried, is that a lot of things start out as being maybe voluntary, and then they become mandatory or could become mandatory. And so it's a different. There's a big difference between having Amazon propose this versus having the federal government propose this. So there's a bit of privacy danger.
And if it's not mandatory, why would someone want to do this? Because here's my problem, just, listening to the overall, theory of how this might work. It's a single secure internet access code, if you will. If I lose that, that's access to everything I have, right?
Probably. I mean, again, we don't have the details, but it is, or could be, the master key. Because right now, at least, if you use different passwords on different shopping sites and different bank accounts and PayPal sites, if you lose one, your entire online identity is not compromised. But here, if the master key is lost, then someone could impersonate you quite well and run up a lot of credit card charges, and in a worst-case scenario, even debit your bank account. So there are some dangers here. It's not necessarily the best thing for security, but there's still a lot of details that we need to know.
No doubt. But the government says this plan, though, is meant to boost security. But some people are concerned that it could be a case of Big Brother. What are privacy advocates saying?
Right. The FBI has actually been saying, I remember FBI director, then Director Louis Freeh saying at a congressional hearing in the 1990s, we'd like to have some sort of internet driver's license for the internet, or online driver's license for the internet. So this is something that law enforcement has wanted for a while. I mean, think of it. It actually probably makes it easier to solve crimes, but at the cost of privacy and anonymity. I mean, this is what China requires, and I'm not sure it's fair to say we're going down the same direction, but it is a cautionary tale. We have a strong tradition of anonymous free speech in this country, and having an internet driver's license would go in the opposite direction.
So if it's not a case of Big Brother, what is the government's interest in doing this?
Well, I think that if the Department of Homeland Security were to be running this, then it's probably to advance law enforcement interests, maybe at the cost of privacy. But the White House handed this to the Commerce Department, and I think they really do intend to promote e-commerce to eliminate some of the fraud that really is rampant in some portions of the internet, and make online shopping and the online experience a little bit more secure. Whether it's actually going to do that is an open question. Remember, you have millions of people with their PCs infected by viruses and worms and all sorts of malware, so it doesn't matter how secure the online shopping experience is if your computer is actually being controlled by the Russian mafia.
Government officials also say there is no way that a centralized database of all of these users and their information could be breached or could be leaked. Should we believe that?
Well, of course, it's possible. I mean, whether it's likely, it depends on who runs it. It depends on what kind of security mechanisms they use. I mean, I remember writing an article, this is the better part of a decade ago, but it's the first one that comes to mind, about how there was a problem with Microsoft's Hotmail service that let you, if you did a very simple trick, that you could log in and see the contents of anyone's account. And so when you have all this information in one spot, when you have all of these accounts linked together, it becomes a very attractive target for thieves, for cyber criminals of all sorts, and maybe even foreign governments. I'm not saying it's necessarily a bad idea, but it could become one depending on the details.
All right, the devil's in the details, as they say. CNET's Declan McCullagh, thank you for being with us this morning.
Anytime.